Welcome to episode 60 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies, plus tips, apps, and gear. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week is Bob Fairbairn. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great. Hey, Dave, how come you waited for 59 and a half episodes to invite me?
Well, you know what? I got you on during my inaugural 60th episode. I just still can't believe I've done 60 episodes of this.
It's amazing. When did you start? What was the 16?
It was about 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
cool.
We've had a lot of fun, a lot of changes over the last 2 years. Went to the guest only format about episode 39, episode 40 or so.
Mm-hmm.
We mixed it around with that, and the show's been going real well, and we
Good.
really appreciate you being here.
No
For those of you who don't know, Bob is an IT professional like I am, and has a lot of knowledge in the audio area. He's an audiophile, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. We've met each other through the local Apple user group that I've talked about many times, Suburban Chicago Apple Users. So I'm the president, and he's on our board, and he's been such a great support of our group, and we really appreciate that. That we have a lot of fun, Bob and I. Tell the listeners a little bit about what your background is a little bit.
Okay.
So we'll go from there.
Okay, so I've been playing in computers, information technology since I started working for Commodore Business Machines back before the Commodore PET was really going. So a long time, and then plus 20 years at a little company called Motorola, and then the past several years, I have a couple of my own businesses that I run. So I have the technology consulting firm, which is one of the big ones, and some other stuff that we'll talk about later. Help people with goodies.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable, does a lot of great presentations for our group, and I'm just thrilled to have you here. So we're going to talk really what our topics are for today is let's go, of course, dig into some of the news stories of the week from Apple. We're going to talk a little bit about audio. Audio has a lot of play in your world, and I thought you're a great resource to talk to us about using your headphones, speakers, Bluetooth speakers, and other audio type devices with your iPhone or iPad, because there's so many choices out there. But first, let's dig into some of the news. Of course, my new guests, every time I have to ask what iOS devices you have and how you play with them. So we're going to get into it.
Okay, so
we'll get to that after the news. So.
My primary iOS device, it's a toss-up, whether it's the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which is just, I live, breathe, eat, and sleep on that thing, but the iPhone XS Max is in my pocket every day.
Hold that thought. We're going to do the news first, and then we're going to get right into your the discussion about what you have.
Okay.
Your stuff. Okay.
Got it.
So let's go start with the first news story that we have here. Apple did yesterday, as we record this, released iOS 12.3, and I didn't see a lot of big change to it, other than some security updates like they always say. But the biggest change I think is on the iPad is the TV app that they added to make it look just like what it looks like with iTunes and a lot of the other apps that Apple's been doing, and Apple Music for that matter. Actually, it does work with iPhone too. I didn't find it on my iPhone for some reason. Have you tried it out yet?
No, I have not yet. I haven't updated anything due to extenuating circumstances.
But I got it.
Yeah.
I was like blind. I didn't see it there.
Okay. The thing that there didn't seem to be much of anything else other than that, and also along with that, of course, is the announcement of the Samsung app is going to have the app on their 2019 TVs. So pretty quick. So that'll be good too.
Yeah. So it nothing too terribly exciting beyond that. But it does have a lot of security updates that are in there. So it does, and also like you just mentioned, it supports AirPlay. It's now called the Apple TV app, and it's got the Apple TV logo. And then in preparation for the TV Plus service that's going to come out later this year, and so it's going to be interesting to see where all that goes. And of course, with iOS release, there's also Watch OS, there's TV OS, there's Mac OS. They all came out.
Yeah.
I think the same thing with the TV OS. We have an article in the show notes for that as well. This is saying their 7th update to the TV OS operating system, and looks like the same thing. They just updated, made the app a little more robust. It's got a channels feature, which is a major part of the company's new service with channels. So they're going to be really pushing a lot of that, and then a lot of your subscriptions can go through it. One thing I did find, and I actually just tried it before the show, is on my iPad. Is I really like the fact that it's got all the shows in there and all the channels that you want to that you subscribe to that are part of it. You can click a TV show and it'll go right to the app that you want to watch it. So let's say if it's on Hulu, it'll go to Hulu. If you have MLB, so I have MLB at Bat watching baseball, it went right to the MLB at Bat app.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't signed in, but then I tapped it and then right to the game I could watch. Of course, I can't watch it locally, like always with the blackouts. But very cool when it came to what they did with the Apple TV app. And then on watchOS, only real thing I think they did was they added more support for European countries for the ECG for measuring your heart rate and making sure you don't have AFib and all that stuff. There was one minor fix that was affixed to it as well. This was where the numbers on the Explorer face would not appear for some users, which of course watchOS 5 will wind down over the next month because we've got the Worldwide Developers Conference coming up here next month, less than a month away here, and we're definitely going to be hearing about all the new OSs that are coming out. And watchOS 6 is going to be out, iOS 13 is going to be out, so we have to prepare ourselves for that too. You have the Apple Watch?
Yes, sir, I do. Okay. I'm still on the 3.
Okay.
I may skip the Series 4 because I'm going to see what the Series 5 does. I don't know. I want the Series 4, but it's getting so close. It's hard to buy one right now.
I know. And then the last discussion I want to talk about briefly, linked to an article. I thought one of the best sources for this kind of stuff is Jim Dalrymple on The Loop. He did a little bit of article on the App Store's antitrust case that was announced. The Supreme Court on Monday this week that we record this ruled that an antitrust case against Apple could move forward, effectively allowing iPhone users to sue the company. And the crux of the argument is that Apple only allows apps to be sold on its store and takes 30% commission. Okay, well, the biggest argument, as far as I'm concerned, is I'm happy with that because it keeps all the riffraff out. You can't have all these crappy apps that come out, especially like it does in the Google Play Store for Android. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. What was your thoughts on this?
Well, actually, I think what's really interesting about it is that it seems to be more around the 30% than anything else. That's kind of what I think the underlying problem is. And Apple does, and developers, I've been a minor developer, right. It does provide quite a bit of services. But what's interesting to see is the changes in the Google Play Store to be more like the Apple Store, where they're requiring more things, they're checking more code, they're doing more things. And so I think there's going to be a happy medium somewhere. I just don't know where it's going to end up. Right now, I'm very happy to have that, everybody says curated environment, but I don't have any fear to download and run an app, although we've seen some instances where people have done bad things with security certificates and stuff, but not in general in the App Store. Yeah, no,
I enjoy that safety as well as everybody else should enjoy that safety of knowing that most of the time that if the very small percent of I say 0.01% of when there might be a bad app that and Apple generally is pretty quick to reacting and take it down pretty quick here. So I only remember maybe a couple that were of bad apps that had some stuff in there that shouldn't been doing it. So
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long while. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where this goes. Everybody has to have their frivolous lawsuits they have to play upon and want to sue Apple, and Apple has a team of lawyers, so I don't foresee it being much of a problem.
One of the biggest fish in the pond. Somebody's going to shoot at it.
So definitely going to be interesting. So that was some of the news, but we had a lot of topics to cover here today, so we're not going to get too much else into the news this episode. But like I said at the beginning, Bob, the first thing I always like to ask any guest that's come on for the first time, I've done that with everybody so far, my 60 past episodes here, is like I like to find out what makes you tick when it comes to Apple iOS and if you have an iPad, an iPhone, watch, all that stuff. And I know you have all of it, just like I am. That's why you and I get along so well, because we love having technology in our hands. So tell listeners a little bit about what you said. You had the iPhone XS Max, just like I do.
Right.
And you said you love that phone.
Oh yeah, I do. I actually have this crazy idea, but I think it'll wait till the fall.
Yeah.
So the iPad Pro 12.9,
Right.
the 2018 model, it's a miracle. It's so easy to use. It's so fast.
Mhm.
I have the keyboard folio and the Apple Pencil, and it's never very far away from me.
Yeah.
It goes everywhere with me. And I think the one thing that the most favorite thing about it is the fact that it's got cellular. So I add it to my T-Mobile
Okay.
plan, and I don't ever have to think about not being connected to the internet, at least in the area where we live. So
Sure.
to me, that's brilliant. The only thing that's crazy about me is I actually have two other iPads, and
Every
so
time
I
I
got to
see
make
you,
sure the SIM is in the right iPad.
yeah.
And so I really haven't used. So I have the 10.5. Also, or the 11, excuse me,
So we move on to
the
iPad.
11. Sorry,
You,
I
you,
had the
you only
10.5.
you only have one iPhone, right? Just the one iPhone, right?
Well, currently one iPhone, yeah.
All right.
Um,
So
the
iPad.
iPad 11, same thing, maxed out, and I can put the SIM in it when I want, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't click with me as well as the 12.9 does. So 12.9 just clicks. The
I'm
11's
opposite.
great. It's so much lighter and smaller to carry around, but it isn't that much. And then our friends came out with this new Mini, and I fell in love.
Nice.
I,
You
I,
showed it to
I,
me when
I,
I saw you last, and
um,
I've seen it in the store. It is pretty nifty.
the fact that it's got it's the original pencil. Okay, so
Right.
my original pencil works, and a couple of different keyboards. It doesn't take up any space in a bag. Um, it really is, and it's fast. It's clean. It's got the
Yeah.
good screen on it. Um, I'm really liking that a lot. So I've actually been carrying that a little bit more. So I carry a little RX 106 camera. I carry the iPad Mini, the little tiny Logitech keyboard, which I don't even know is available anymore, and the iPhone, and I can do anything, photography, work, whatever. And I don't need a great big bag. So
Yeah.
for
True.
travel, I mean, it's just absolutely fabulous. So that's, to me, that's what makes it. And the way everything works together, with a couple of exceptions of things I have trouble with, which we might get to later on. But because I need help with something, Dave, you're gonna have to help me with something.
All
Later.
right. Maybe we could
Okay.
put that at the end of the show here and talk
Yeah,
about.
it's coming up in the notes.
Help from the iPhone guru like me.
Yep. And so that's really and of course, I do have an Apple Watch, and I don't have the new AirPods. My wife hasn't been using hers, so I'm using her AirPods right now because the batteries on mine are gone. So they're just they don't we bought them right away, so it's time for a pair of AirPods too for myself. And we'll see where that goes. And so this is where where do I spend my budget? So
yeah, you do spend. You shouldn't know this, right?
way too much.
Yeah. So, so you actually have how many iPads? You have 4?
I have three.
Three.
I have three, but I gave the 10.5 to my wife.
Okay.
So she's got an iPad Pro.
I don't count spouses. That's their
okay.
That's their,
and wait a minute now. And Grandma got the 9.7.
Okay, there you
All
go.
right.
That's
Everybody's got an iPad Pro and a keyboard in the family. Just about. Well, my son doesn't have an iPad Pro, but everybody's got, because that keyboard just makes it. It takes it to that next level, and I think that's great.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you have a full catalog, just like I do. If you touch
Unfortunately,
everything, all the and throughout the iOS world, you have it all. And of course, I'm sure you have Apple TVs up the.
There's a couple of those around. Yes,
those around here as well, like I do.
Yep.
As I was going to say, I have the iPad Pro 11-inch 2018 model, and I like it. I mean, I know I looked at your 12.9, and I did look at it at the store, and I was tempted when I purchased it, and I've said that before. And I don't know, I just kind of leaned a little more towards the 11-inch, and I've been very happy with it.
It's interesting. There's kind of hot and cold, on either side. For me, the key is the width of the keyboard on the 12.9. It's just, it's more comfortable for me to type on. And that's really, and the bigger screen, although I like the Mini, I don't know, just there's something about it that if I set the two of them down, I always gravitate to the 12.9. So,
okay. All right. So, that's what you have and what makes you tick with iOS devices. let's dig right into your topic that the topic I brought up for this episode is
Sure.
audio. You're a big audiophile, and I knew that just because I knew you worked at some really high end stores in the past.
Yep.
When you've told me, I said, "Oh my god, I know that place." And these are people that are spending tens of thousands of dollars on audio equipment. But of course, this audience here is all about iOS here and using devices with their iPhone, iPad.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the Power Beats. I had the Power Beats, the Power Beats 3. I got them as I got them as a freebie when I got my MacBook Pro years ago. I've also got the Power Beats headsets that I'm wearing here today that aren't bad. They have some good sound to them. But then Apple just came out with the Power Beats Pro, which are true Bluetooth with no wire. They're both earphones. They're similar to what the AirPods are.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you don't have much experience. You're not a big Bluetooth fan when it comes to the AirPods, but you said you like the AirPods. So why don't we start with the small devices, work our way up, and
okay.
What your thoughts are on the AirPods? I know you said because they're good for voice and talking, but not so great for music.
I'm not real big fan of them on music. I don't typically use them for music. I don't like Bluetooth for music, and there's a couple of reasons behind that. The thing about the AirPods is the convenience. They're always in your pocket. There's no wires. The battery life is actually very good, although mine are getting old. And the audio quality is acceptable for phone calls. Okay. I don't find it acceptable for music personally. I just don't. Okay. I'm actually listening. I probably listen to less music on the iPhone than I used to, and I'll get around to why that is here in a little bit. But, and the other thing that's kind of, been disheartening a little bit is they took the silly headphone jack away. And that has bothered a lot of people, and I think there's a couple of ways around that. We can do some. So they still include the dongle in the box,
right?
And so the dongle in the box helps and solves a couple of problems for us. And so there's a couple of really interesting headphones that we played with, and one of them we'll talk about a little bit, maybe a little bit on the crazy side.
Some of these are here. I don't know. You got an expensive bunch here for some.
Well, no. So really, look how much those Power Beats. Okay, those are $300, right?
The Power Beats are actually $200.
Okay, around $200. Okay, all right. So I like when I'm out and about to have something that's light, fits in my pocket, or carries around, and provides, I would say, really good audio. And so I typically go with what's called an in-ear monitor, where the earphone goes in your ear. Okay, and there's levels of those. Okay, so and I didn't even list the OMG ones. Okay, I just listed the good, better, best. Okay. And there's a pair. So there's Etymotic. I can't say that word. Etymotic makes a really nice set of headphones. They make a whole bunch of them before. Okay, they've been around for a long time, and so they have this model called the ER3 SE, and that's ER3 is the model, and the SE stands for the Studio Edition. There's another model. Don't get that. Get the Studio Edition, and they're somewhere in the $200 range or a little bit less. Okay. And for the money, they are absolutely phenomenal. They're $179. Well, keep it, because you got to pay tax, and I want you to buy something else to go with it. It's got to spend another $20. Okay. All right. And there's a company called Comply, Comply, and they make tips for earphones, and those are absolutely amazing. I thought I put them in the show notes.
Yeah, go ahead and, Comply phone.
Comply phone. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have all these items in the show notes. So.
Okay, good. What the Comply phone does, so the ear tips, you have different sizes, and for $20 you can get three different sizes, so you know what size ear you are, and they'll send you a set of 3 for $20, and just buy them. It makes an amazing difference. They fit because it's this foam that collapses and then fits in your ear, and then it expands back out again. So it gives you better sound separation, and it really improves the low frequency response, because it seals it in your ear. And so that's one of the things that these headphones, if they're done right, that gets that bass, so the bass is realistic, it's not boomy and and overemphasized. And that's one of the things that the ER3s do, is they give you a really pretty decent curve on sound. And for $200 effectively, I would say those are the ones to buy in that price range if you want a good little in-ear monitor. Now, if you want to step it up, okay, Shure's been making headphones for 1,000 years. And the Shures that I have and I like a lot are the SE535s. They're $450, $500. Not too many people will buy those. Those are a little not quite as comfortable. It's a bigger earpiece that sits in your ear, but it's got multiple drivers. So like a speaker has a woofer and a tweeter and stuff, this thing has multiple drivers. Mm-hmm. And so each frequency, and it has a crossover in it, just like a regular speaker does. And they're absolutely fabulous sounding. They are just for the money, they're absolutely amazing. And so it's a nice mid-range headphone. $500 is we kind of call mid-range. You get the high end stuff goes past that. So I like the 535s. They're generally available all over the place. Amazon, you can buy them everywhere. And so those are the two that I kind of, when you're stepping up, if you're stepping out into what I call more of an audiophile sound, more balanced, more clear, those are a couple that I just love and work really well. Shall we talk about real headphones now?
Well, you didn't even mention the one that you have.
Well, that's real.
I just wanted people to you could even just mention it. I don't see too many people.
Well, okay.
I don't know anybody that owns. I think I would like to know.
I know a lot of people that own. Okay, so there's a forum called Head-Fi, head-fi.com, and it's where a lot of headphone guys, gals, people hang out, listen to headphones, and one of the things that is a really amazing sound is what's called a planar magnetic headphone. All right. And those are just fabulous. So there's this company called Audis that has made a planar magnetic in-ear monitor. And OMG, do they sound good. Okay. I got them.
OMG, I would be worried to lose them.
Well, they don't go with me everywhere. And I put a link to my review that has some of a device we'll talk about a little bit. But so these things come in a little pouch, and they've got a cable that has a lightning cable, that has a digital signal processor in it, that has an equalizer in it, all this kind of stuff. Headphones with interchangeable cables is a thing. Okay, these are fabulous. I'll bring them to the next meeting, and I'll have you listen to them and see what you think.
I still can't believe you own these.
Oh, these are not expensive.
Okay.
They're $2,500, and they're not expensive. They're not expensive. No. So expensive headphones are in the $6,000 range.
Yeah. Okay.
I
keep forgetting you've.
Okay. Now, these there are people who live, breathe, eat, and sleep headphones. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
And when you go there, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic the sound you get. Now, there's a couple of things that's different about the LCD i4s and the SE535 and the ER3s. The ER3s and the SE535s are what's called a closed headphone, so you don't hear the sound. So it's closed and open. So the Beats you've got are on ear closed. Okay, and so what that means is they sit on your ear, and you don't hear sound outside of them. So I'm wearing a pair of Barrydine DT 770s. These are 30-year-old headphones, and they're closed headphones. And if I don't wear a closed headphone, if I wear an open headphone, what happens is it'll loop around into the microphone, and you'll hear me, and you'll get really weird echoey stuff. So closed and open is good. When you're out and about, you probably want a closed headphone, but then sometimes you want an open headphone so you can hear the sounds around you. So that's
and I've got the closed headphones. I have I don't know how big of a fan of Bose you are, but I have the Bose QC35s. I had the QC15s before. I like them. I think they're great, especially for travel. I always bring them with me when I go on any flights, and noise cancellation on them are
Hmm.
superb in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So the way I avoid noise canceling headphones. Well, anyway, the way I avoid noise canceling headphones is
Yeah.
with the Ear 3s, because they seal your ear, and so
Okay.
you don't need the noise canceling because you don't have it. Now, the noise canceling is an amazing technology. It
Yeah.
really does work, and it's accessible. It's easy to use. Got to have your batteries, that kind of stuff. But and every headphone manufacturer has a different idea of what things should sound like, okay, and their presentation. And so this allows them to sell to their piece of the market, and that's why there are thousands of headphones out there now.
Oh yeah.
The headphone, and I don't know if it's the Walkman, the smartphone, but the number of headphones out there is just amazing. It's fabulous, worldwide, and made from any kind of material you can think about, with any kind of design you want. Purple, red, green, wood,
Mhm.
just fabulous stuff. It's a fun place to play, and a really crazy place, just like the Apple Store, to spend money.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy. I mean, I'm crazy enough. If I look at all the earphones and headphones I have, I mean, I still have got some old Shores from. I don't even know if I have them here anymore. They were wired ones. I forgot the name of them. That would wrap around. You wrap the wires around your ears, and they
Hmm.
went in buds. They were great.
Hmm.
Those were wired with a three and a
Yeah,
half inch jack, and
yeah.
had those. Loved them. I mean, I had the old Apple earbuds, the ones that actually had the rubberized buds that you could
Oh, yes, yeah. Hmm.
I still have those. Those are great. So trust me, I'm just as crazy as you are when it comes to. I just don't spend as much money as you do on these, but
Well,
I
but it's my business also.
but it's your business. I know. I
Okay.
understand. Just
So,
like me when I buy stuff. Yeah, we're all the same. That's why people listen here is because I buy it and take one for you to be able to review a lot of this stuff. But I mean, that's what's so interesting about audio and people utilizing these with their iPads and their iPhones
yeah.
is being able to do it. I mean, with some of the iPads, you still have a headphone jack, so you can plug those in with a 3.5 inch jack. But now you got the iPad Pros, which don't have them anymore.
Bummer.
Which is it is. I mean, other than you have to get the dongle, and I don't know. Did they have the dongle for the USB?
USB-C? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
They did. Okay, so on the iPad, you could use the dongle that plugs into the USB-C port, and it will convert it into a 3.5 inch jack for you. So a lot of companies have come out there to adapt to a lot of this need, because there's still people who still they love their earphones, their earbuds. They don't want to change, and they don't want to convert to Bluetooth. I mean, like I said, some people like Bluetooth, some don't, and I see with your expertise, Bluetooth's not the greatest,
Yeah.
and it's understandable. So
Well, but Bluetooth has some advantages stuff. Yeah, $9 USB-C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack.
yeah,
So here, let's do this.
we'll throw it in the show notes for you.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Um,
gonna do.
and and I'm and don't worry, but we'll clean up the notes here. As you see, I'm moving things as we go here talking.
Yeah.
So so yeah, a good segue to Bluetooth would be Bluetooth speakers.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now I've had Bluetooth speakers forever too. Um, I still have my old Bose ones that were really nice, and they still work great. And they're old, but they're Bluetooth and they do work.
Yeah.
Um, I've bought some portable Bluetooth speakers that have been great. And you came up with a couple suggestions that you
Well,
like.
so sitting here in my bag, let me roll back and so I can show it to you.
Well, he is rolling back, so of course people just listening, we're keeping visual here. So
yeah, oh yeah, I'll keep it visual. So here, Dave can see it. So this is my only Bluetooth speaker. This is this is an older Bose Sound Like Mini. I won't comment on audio quality, but what I will comment on is convenience and battery life. It sounds just fine, and I tell you where we used it the most and where we're using it less. So we a friend of ours has a cottage we stay in a lot of times in the summer, and there's no internet, there's no television, there's no telephone, nothing. Basically, I have to have my music, and so this is a nice way to get music. And this is the other reason why I buy the biggest storage on the iPad or whatever, to have lots and lots of music stored on device. Now, what's interesting is the iPad Pros with the speakers. Whoa, they're pretty good. They're really pretty amazing.
The speakers in the iPad, yeah.
Yeah, speakers in the iPad. You set it up and you play. It's not bad. Okay. We still use this, and it fills the cottage up with music, and it's really nice, and it lasts for a long time. And then you feed it with the iPad, and it's not bad. Now, it's not sitting down in front of the speaker system I've got in my living room. Okay, right. Not intended to do that. What it's intended to do is to give you comfortable listening in a mobile environment. Now, there's a couple of others that have recently gotten some good press. I think the Wirecutter reviewed one, which was kind of interesting the other day, and I haven't gone and looked for it just because I always try and keep up on this. And they were really happy with this one, which was relatively inexpensive and they say sounded better some others. So we can look that up maybe and see. I think the key to it is that if you're going to buy something portable, one of the things you're going to want to do today is get one that's water resistant. This one's not, so you're not going to put this on the patio. You're not going to put your HomePod on the patio, right? So something, if you're going to be outside and you're going to have a speaker, get something that's water resistant, and I think that's a kicker.
Now, what about the HomePod? What is your thoughts on the sound?
Thumpy. I mean, okay, in a stereo pair, they're interesting. By themselves, they don't really sound that good, and I don't know what it is, but in a stereo pair, when they're matched up, they actually sound a little bit better. The problem is they're deep chested. They have this penchant to push the bottom end, and you miss a lot of the mid range, and you miss a tremendous amount of definition. Most of these home devices, home speaker device things don't sound that good. And there are some that sound better. So you get up into Sonos makes a couple of interesting ones. Blue Sound makes a couple of interesting ones. So there's like two classes of devices. There's the audio devices, and then there's the home assistant devices that have speakers in them. Okay. And let me tell you, I come home, and very often the lady in the can is what's singing, not the speakers in the living room, because you can tell the lady in the can to sing. And as of now, I've just gotten set up. I can tell the lady in the can to play in the living room. So there's some cool stuff going on in connected home. Probably don't want to go down that route here. It's too much.
No, that's probably a whole episode by itself here.
Yeah, I think connected home might be fun at some point. But so Bluetooth speakers, like I said, I've got this. It's been around here. This is the original SoundLink Mini. I have no reason to get rid of it. It just works.
Yeah, and it's the way with the old Bose I have sitting here. It's when I want to go, we have a summer house too. I bring it up and we hook it up, and I want to be able to listen to stuff. And up there you don't have all the luxuries of a home theater or stereo or water.
Oh yeah, and I love it. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much we nailed this more quicker than I thought we would.
well, but we washed over some stuff. So let's just do a couple of little details to help some folks out.
All right.
So one of the things that we want to talk about is, and let's talk about headphones and sound. So you pick up a pair of headphones and you listen to them when you first listen to them, and if they sound, I'm going to use the word tight or constrained or just don't sound right. Go read the reviews a little bit more and study a little more, because there's this thing called break-in. It's just like an engine break-in in your car to a certain extent. Headphones break in over time. And I had a friend of mine who just bought the ER3s, and he was commenting over several days of listening to them how they kept sounding better and better and better over up to 100 or 150 or 200 hours. It made a significant difference in how they sound. So, and these are a little armature speaker where there's a little bidirectional armature that moves back and forth. All of that stuff, it breaks in. It's amazing. I know it sounds silly, makes a difference. Anyway, that's one of the things. And then the other thing is if you want to go to the next level, we can start talking about that. If you want to talk about that a little bit, so if you want to talk about like external DACs and headphone amplifiers and things like that, we could go down that path. That's a little more sophisticated.
That's too sophisticated, I think.
Okay, all right.
But I think we gave listeners a lot of info in the short period of time here.
Sure.
Related to headphones, earphones, earpods.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many choices out there, and you really highlighted some of the really key ones. I mean, yeah, the Audis. I'll drool and look at yours. That's about as far as I go.
That's fine.
I'll be able to appreciate me seeing this, and we definitely can. I'll report back to tell you how much they really sound, how well they really sound. I'm sure they sound amazing. Like I said, I'd be nervous to even carrying them anywhere for the value.
But Dave, what I want you to do is take your bag that you go to work with, right? All right, and just take that bag tomorrow morning when you go to work, and look inside that bag and add up what's in there.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Same price.
Yeah, it adds up. It's crazy. It's and it's a little scary. We have to make sure we're properly insured. One thing you use what music streaming music services do you listen to? Do you use Apple Music? What do you use?
I have Apple Music. I have an Amazon Prime account. And don't listen to that as much. I think I'm primarily an Apple Music user. I mean, I got a Pandora account, courtesy of T-Mobile, giving me a premium account for a year. So,
okay.
But I think mostly of the music I listen to is on Apple Music.
Yeah. And do you use the Apple Music app? Do you use the music app? Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. I think what they have done there is they've made that app a lot easier to use. It looks better. It's got a cleaner interface. One of the things that they've got is they've got this sharing, share with friends stuff. And I've heard a lot of people use that and really enjoy it. So it's not like a social media network or something. It's just what are my friends listening to? And it's a nice way of sharing music back and forth. There's a ton of places to get music, and just it's like your podcast, right? An extreme large percentage of your users are using the Apple Podcast app, right? I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And
both my podcasts.
It's because it's there on the device, and that makes it so much easier and so much more accessible. Don't have to think. So
and I know you mentioned a couple other services. I mean, Google. I guess Google's music is okay. Tidal was more of a high end. High end. Service. To just name a few, of course, Spotify is still. It's Spotify, Apple Music. Those are 1, 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
When it comes to listeners, and you have other things like Stitcher Radio.
There's fantastic places. There's other fantastic places. So SoundCloud. And how many people get their music off of YouTube? I mean, there's a fantastic number of artists on YouTube Music. The only place you can find them. Okay, and there's a few others. I mean, one of the artists I really like. The only place you could buy her music is on SoundCloud. Okay,
who do you like?
Lorena McKenna is one of them. She's a kind of a Celtic. We could put some of her stuff on there. You can buy stuff from there, but Zoe Keating is the one who's pretty much only on SoundCloud. So I could send you a playlist of my music, but it would take you 2,450 days. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Sounds like my playlist.
And there are, when you have these other devices, there are other music services that could give you higher quality, but you're going to spend more money. And for students or families or whatever, Apple Music has a really good selection. Discovery on Apple Music is a little hard sometimes, I think, finding stuff, but it's getting better. It's getting better.
I think it has gotten better. And with the Apple TV app, they're really, I think, of all the apps that they're trying to make things simple across all of their platforms.
Yeah.
And we had a discussion about in the other shows about iTunes, and I think the imminent breakup of iTunes, where they're going to separate music, TV, and podcasts into their separate apps, which I think is long overdue. iTunes was great for its time, but I just don't think it's a very good music manager at this point.
Yeah. When you get to large libraries and stuff, iTunes just kind of falls down.
Always painful.
And how many people now don't even maintain a library anymore? It's all streaming. And so giving a better way to present and discover music from other artists and stuff. Yeah, I'm hopeful for the future for that because there's so much out there that's
Yeah.
amazing.
So let's turn topics here. I saw here a topic here that we would that catches my eye here. I think you could give us some good insights. Is you made a comment that calendaring isn't still not making you happy,
No,
and how the calendaring works on iOS devices is probably I agree it can be a bit painful. And what was your thoughts on that as far
well,
as
there's a couple of things. So, I have what I consider a fairly simple set of problems. Okay, I have a calendar. My
right?
wife has a calendar. We have events we go to together, and we have events that we need to know about. So if I need to schedule something, so she knows where I am and I know where she is. And so we did this family calendar, Bob and Linda calendar on Apple's calendaring system, and it's been driving us nutsoid. So every device you go to, except this event, except this event, except this event. And so I want to get away from sharing the calendar and just exposing the calendar. So here's and I'm actually looking at Google's calendaring service to see how that works. We're going to try that this week
Okay.
and see how that works. Then we'll also try so that the family calendar is on Google, and maybe we don't have to accept events, or which just the so that's what we're trying to get away from, because it's crazy. And why should my wife have to accept the event that's me going to work for someone or this podcast or whatever? Sure, she will know that I'm doing the podcast, but she doesn't need to accept the event. So that's actually the thing that's driving us crazy. And then of course she does things differently than I do. So she does childcare outside of the home. She teaches and does it. So she goes and does childcare in someone's home. So she will not delete an event. She will mark it canceled. So she'll take the location and mark it canceled, but the alarms still go off and all this stuff. Anyway, so we're trying to not recommend a marriage with calendaring.
Yeah, no, it definitely it's an interesting thing. We could do a whole topic dump about that all by
Oh
itself
yeah,
here
yeah.
to dig into it. So, let's move on a little bit here. And you had some apps that really caught your eye. I know you were very excited about Spark.
Yeah.
Program. Why don't you give us a little bit of your insights in some of these apps?
Okay, so Spark is an email app, and one of the nice things about Spark, it works everywhere. So it works on the Mac, on iOS, and on iPad, iPad and iPhone. So both. And what I really like about it is that it could have a conventional presentation 1, 2, 3 and ordered, or it has some things that are smart. But the best thing it's got is all of these integrations with other devices, so you can send stuff to other pieces, other apps. You can all the ways that you can manage email. You can snooze them, you can tag them for later. It's just a fantastic app. And it's Readle, and they have a whole series of apps.
Oh yeah, Readle makes great stuff.
Yeah, some of that stuff is I have almost their whole suite on my devices, but
PDF experts.
Spark caught my eye, and I've been using it pretty much. So I've moved all of my calendaring except for my iCloud email. I haven't moved my iCloud over. I moved all the others over. So it works fine with an Exchange account. It works fine with Google accounts. I'm sure it'll work fine with the Apple account. I just haven't moved that one over. So love that. That's a really good place to look around. Did you want to talk about a couple of the others here? Or would
I
you
want you to go through the list.
Okay.
Yeah, we got time to do it. So
okay, that's fine. We don't want to go too long. So I'm a mind map kind of guy. I do a lot of mind maps, not real formal, but I do a lot of mind maps for planning systems and systems designs and stuff. And I've used a couple, but I've been playing with MindNode. And so MindNode 5, I've been using. I was on the beta for MindNode 5. I'm now on the beta for MindNode 6. And if you're going to do anything with mind mapping, go look at MindNode. I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm only using it on iOS right now, typically only on the iPad. That's kind of where I sit down and do that, because I carry it around and oh man, they're improving that nicely. So I think that's a wonderful up and coming app that they keep updating. So that one's really good. Don't know if we've talked about this before. So have you ever used AnyList?
I have not. No.
Okay, so AnyList is we tried using reminders for shared grocery lists and stuff like that, and it just it never clicked with us. And so we've been using AnyList to share lists between myself and my wife. And I have so I've been keeping any shopping list I keep in AnyList, and you can share stuff. You can tell it what store, what aisle. It has a recipe manager in it. It's a real interesting app that kind of crosses over from not being a task manager, but just being a list manager, and for grocery shopping and things like that. And you can put photographs in there. You can do it. I don't think it's all that expensive. I don't remember. We've been using it for about a year, and I just think it's an absolute winner for grocery shopping. Now there are others. We're not using the recipe part of it yet, but really happy with that. The other thing that I've been fussing over is I have a bunch of folks I work with, family, friends, who are not Apple users. Shame on them.
Gosh, shame on them.
Shame on them. So secure messaging. And so we've been playing with Signal and been playing with Keybase. And so far I like Keybase better. I have a couple people that use Signal, so I've got both. Keybase does some nice file transfer things like that. It's kind of it kind of came out of the IT geeky sort of things. Yep. Signal kind of came out of the protect people who are doing reporting and stuff like that. So they're both secure messaging app that work across multiple platforms. So it's an interesting, if you have the need, there's a couple of apps there that kind of cross that boundary. Unfortunately, you get, alerts from all these different apps. And so it does bother a little bit, but overall, those are two that I like a lot. So there's a few apps.
Okay. I am going to I have one app I wanted to talk about is, I'm sure you and I are very, very much alike. We're news junkies. We like us for technology. That is, I stay away from the news of the day and the politics as much as I can. But I know that's impossible.
No way.
But there's an app I've really discovered. I'm really absolutely loving. It's called News Explorer, and I put the link in the show notes. And this is a app that is a news reader, and it allows you to compile all the different RSS feeds for different news sources. In my case, I created specifically a group for Apple. So any Apple based news site like 9 to 5 Mac and BGR and many others. I've got it really gives you a great way of being able to group it between categories. So like if you want to have news, you can. You could also add different all different kinds of groups. And I really like this app, and it's not that terribly expensive. They have in fact, they have it on the iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, and Apple TV. So if you wanted to even read, and the cool thing is this syncs on iCloud. So everything that you do on one device will be across the others, as well as Mac.
Okay.
There is a Mac app as well. What really made me discover it was actually this. If you're not familiar with this is a Mac. I'm not going to get too deep into this about this, but there's a service for applications called SetApp that you can subscribe, and it's like it's anywhere between $8 and $9 a month that you can pay to subscribe, and there's all kinds of great Mac apps. That's what kind of got me onto. I mean, you could buy this News Explorer app on the Mac too as a separate app. But that's what kind of hooked me on the Mac side.
I thumbs up, SetApp, absolute thumbs up. I'm installing News Explorer on my Mac right now, so I can follow along.
All right, so good. Now you can start cranking on it too. So, yeah, News Explorer is just an amazing app. I think it really does a great job of managing news resources. I mean, I've used so many other different things over the years, and Feedly and a lot of the other RSS feed apps. I just never got excited about it. That's why when I wrote my article for iPhone Life magazine about the podcast apps. I think Downcast is very similar in this way as far as managing podcasts. It really gives you the same way of being able to read through and just subscribe to all the different podcasts. You don't have to listen to them all, but it's the same way with news. You don't have to read them all. You just kind of glance and read what you want, and that's what I like.
So this is basically an RSS app.
Basically, yeah, but it's got a nice, robust interface. It's got dark mode, which is really cool, even on iOS. And because I like dark mode on Mac Mojave, so you have options, and as I said, it's got full iCloud sync. It'll sync RSS. It syncs JSON, Atom, even YouTube, Twitter subscription. Oh yeah, I forgot Twitter. You could put Twitter feeds in here too. So if there's somebody who you want to follow, instead of you futzing around with having to follow, not only following somebody on Twitter, but also subscribing and getting pop-ups every 5 seconds of what they talk about, you could put them in this News Explorer and in Twitter feeds. Like Joanna Stern is one example. I like following her and seeing what she writes for the Wall Street Journal. So anytime she tweets anything, you get it goes in this News Explorer, and you have control. If you want to have them to pop things up, they can. I just have it set. I don't like the pop-ups. It drives me crazy, and all these things popping up all the time. It does. I like just to see the number that's on the icon, and I say, "Oh, look, I got some things to read here." So, of course, like Mac Rumors and Mac Observer, a lot of all the Apple and Mac centric sites are on there too. That's what we're here for. We like to be geeky stuff here.
Well, so I'm looking at it. So I have RSS Reader. I use Reader 4, and NewsBlur behind it. But this feels, and being able to integrate Twitter feeds in here is really interesting, because I've got a couple of Twitter accounts and I can't keep up, and I do not want the alerts. I will go look. Yeah, so I will play with this. Thank you. This is really interesting.
And it's $4.99 on iOS, and it's a one-time charge across all devices. Not sure about Apple TV if you have to pay a separate fee. You may or may not. But that it is a different ecosystem. So it definitely is something different. So as far as that goes, so with the remaining minutes left, do you have any other things you had in mind that we talked about that? You think?
No. Let me go look at the list. We could talk about Google I/O. Oh, never mind.
Well, you could talk about briefly. I mean,
okay.
I'll tell everybody. I have a Google Pixel 2 XL. Shh, don't say anything. I have one to play with, and look, Google just talking to me right now as I said that. So.
Well, but okay,
I have to mute that.
Okay, but you're in information technology. You support people.
I have to support Android, so I have it. So that's why
my job is helping people with technology. Okay,
me too.
So what do I have? I've got Windows machines. Sorry, I have to play with Windows. I have moved more people off of Windows onto Chromebooks than anything else in my life. But the thing that keeps coming up is, what's a good phone? What's a good phone? And so I am very excited, and I just spent $300 or $400. Well, paid over time for a Pixel 3a. Okay. Now, this is fascinating. This is it's a small mid-range phone that is plenty fast. It's comfortable holding your hand. There's stuff it does that I didn't know that Android did, because my old one was a version and a half back. Absolutely fascinating what this thing does. So it's an ecosystem that parallels our Apple ecosystem. So your Google phone can unlock your Chromebook. I mean, just kinds of stuff like that. Our notes are in Google Docs. Okay. We use Google Calendar for the club, for the Apple user group. So all of these things, they work together.
They work together with iOS and with Google. So that's what's great.
And with Windows. And so Apple has done a really good job of making sure that their stuff works with the other ecosystems. And to me, that's really important. So just having enough knowledge to know about this stuff is really important in our world, and to know the difference between a green bubble and a blue bubble and messages, right?
That's right. You got to know that. I mean, I got family that's considering switching back to Android. I said, you'll become a green bubble, and you'll have problems talking to people if you want to do that, because the rest of the family is on an iPhone. So.
Yep. Well, but yet I have family members and friends and other people and Messages integrates pretty darn well. Now, there are odd things that happen that don't work well sometimes. And the other thing I was going to mention, you're on T-Mobile, okay? Have you seen their Digits program?
I have. I played
Okay,
with it. I have it installed.
so that's what I just did. So it's a little bit like the continuity and stuff with Apple. So now this phone will get the text messages. It won't get my messages, but it'll get text messages, and I can answer my iPhone from my Google phone thanks to T-Mobile's Digits program.
It emulates the number from your other phone onto that phone. So
so like your Apple Watch
with multiple phones.
Yeah, so it really helps, and I'm looking at it for my business to bring my business phone line into T-Mobile and do that. So all this technology, making it all work together, that's what we're here for, Dave.
That's right. Well, before we wrap this up, I wanted to mention MacStock. Are you going to go MacStock? You have to go. Come on.
It depends on my vacation.
I know that's the hard part, is this vacation time, but we definitely have a great time. This will be my 5th year speaking at MacStock. My topic actually is going to be about Notes, the Notes apps, and Apple Notes, and I'm going to do some comparisons to what OneNote can do and other note-taking programs, because the theme for MacStock this year was Create, and there's such a great list of folks that are going to be speaking this year, including Allison Sheridan and Chuck Joyner, as well as myself. You're going to have Mac Sparky and David Sparks and crew for the Mac Power Users are going to be doing their 500th episode at the show, which is awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's a great time. Like I said, this is my 5th year doing this, and I can't talk about more as far as you being able to learn stuff that's going on here. And there's going to be so much great discussion. There's going to be my good friend Barry Falk will be doing the Mac Mingle on Saturday night. We have a lot of fun doing that. You get to network with all these different people. And I tell you, it's just a lot of fun. A lot of new speakers for this year. And you got to come out and take and check it out. It's in the suburban Chicago, up in Woodstock, Illinois. It's on July 27th and 28th, so it's the end of July. So I know sometimes that's tough on vacations, but come on, you can make time for it. It's going to be something a lot of fun, and I definitely could say come out, see us. And the one cool thing is I actually have a discount code. So anybody who is listening to this show, if you go to macstock2019.com and you go to register and you put in this coupon code INTOUCH at checkout, you will save $70 off the regular price. And we'll have the links to all this in the show notes to check that out. So please come check out MacStock. We'd love to see you. I'd love to meet you. And I think we'd have a lot of fun, a lot of great networking. So Bob, I know we're going to have some information on how people can get in contact with you. What's the best way people can contact you?
Oh,
I see you have a whole list of stuff.
I got everything. So I use a little service. It's called my business card on the web, and you can get me there. So at bobfa.me, bobfa.me is a good place to start, and that'll kind of lead you down the path to find me.
Okay.
So that's one place. And then bobfairbairn.com is my audio systems business, and Smarter Cats, Smarter Computing and Technology Services is where I do photography and technology work. And Bob Fairbairn on Twitter and M43 Bob on Instagram, because Micro Four Thirds cameras are my thing. So.
All right. That's so awesome. I can't thank you enough for being here. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. And that's a wrap. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address at feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter at InTouchWithIOS. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and TuneIn Radio. Or better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to listen to us are on the top of that page. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And again, Bob, thanks for being here.
You're very welcome. It was a lot of fun, Dave.
I really enjoyed it, and thanks for listening, and we will talk to you soon.